Welcome to Adventure Koala Stories, where each episode brings you into a world of imagination and fun with our furry friends from the animal kingdom. Adventure Koala and the Race to Cloud Harbor. It was Saturday morning, and the weekly market on the docks of Adventure Town was buzzing with excitement. Adventure Koala and his friends felt like kids in a toy store as they wandered between stalls brimming with treasures from far-off places. They marveled at the shiny, oddly shaped fruits that sparkled like gems and wooden toys carved into jungle animals and magical creatures that seemed to beckon them to come and play. Adventure Koala's nose twitched with delight as delicious aromas from around the world mixed with the salty sea breeze. He caught the scent of eucalyptus, his absolute favorite, drifting from a stall stacked with baked goods a little way down the pier. Before he could make his way to sample those scrumptious treats, his attention was suddenly drawn to a commotion nearby. A crowd had gathered around a friendly goat who was making quite an exciting announcement. Adventure Koala, always curious, wandered over to see what was happening. The goat, with a warm and inviting smile, stood on a small makeshift platform, his voice carrying over the chatter of the crowd. He introduced himself as Gilbert, a representative from the remote town of Cloud Harbor, nestled high up in the peaks of Butterloaf Mountain. Gilbert was there to announce something truly special: the first ever airplane race to Cloud Harbor. The race was open to brave pilots from all around, with an enticing prize for the winner: a massive Cloud Moonstone, a rare and beautiful gem that only the sure-footed goats from Cloud Harbor had the skills to mine. Gilbert explained that the folks from Cloud Harbor were known to be a bit secluded, not because they wanted to be mysterious, but because their town was so remote and nestled so high in the mountains that it was naturally isolated. He shared how the Cloud Harbor community was eager to change that perception and forge stronger connections with their neighboring towns. "The race to Cloud Harbor is our way of reaching out," Gilbert proclaimed with a hopeful gleam in his eye. "We want to invite everyone to see the beauty of Cloud Harbor, to experience our hospitality, and to learn about our unique culture and the moonstones we cherish so deeply. We hope this race will be the start of a wonderful annual tradition, bringing our communities closer together and celebrating our shared skies." The crowd buzzed with excitement at the thought of the adventurous race and the opportunity to visit such an intriguing place. People chattered about the contest, the rugged beauty of Cloud Harbor, and speculated about the mysterious Cloud Moonstones. Adventure Koala, inspired by Gilbert's words and the spirit of community, felt a surge of excitement at the prospect of participating in the race. Not only was it a chance to experience flying in a thrilling competition, but it was also an opportunity to help bridge the gap between the towns and bring them closer in friendship and understanding. Just as he was about to set off and find Mayor Marigold, who could nominate him to take part in the race, a mysterious figure emerged from the crowd, capturing everyone's attention. It was a black crow who no one in Adventure Town recognized. "I'll be joining the race," the crow announced boldly, his voice smooth and confident. There was a slight smirk on his beak, suggesting he was more than sure of his own capabilities. "And I plan to win the Cloud Moonstone," he added, casting a glance around as if daring anyone to challenge his assertion. Adventure Koala and the others exchanged curious glances. Something about the crow felt off. It wasn't just his sudden appearance or his confident proclamation. There was a mysterious aura about him that made it difficult to read his intentions. His gaze was too calculating, too composed, almost as if he was hiding something beneath his sleek exterior. Gilbert had explained that any town could nominate a pilot to take part. For everyone else that wanted to participate, they'd have to pay an entrance fee. The crow had deposited a shiny ruby with Gilbert in order to secure his place in the race. "I'll have to keep an eye on that crow," Adventure Koala murmured to himself. A few stalls away, Adventure Koala found Mayor Marigold munching on a batch of sweet bananas that had been brought in from a tropical island. "Mayor, I'm glad I found you," Adventure Koala started. "I'd like to ask for your blessing to participate in the race to Cloud Harbor on behalf of Adventure Town." Mayor Marigold had just heard about the race herself and was already excited about the possibilities. "Of course, Adventure Koala, I'd love to have you fly. In fact, I'd already been planning to ask you and the Super Animal Rescue Team to take part. Whatever you need, Adventure Town is here to help. We hope you win, but above all, I think this will just be really fun." "Awesome," replied Adventure Koala. "I'll get started planning right away." Just as Adventure Koala was about to leave, he remembered something. "Oh, Mayor Marigold, just curious, do you know anything about the crow that asked to join the race? There was something peculiar about him." "Crow? No, I don't know of any crows. I'll let you know if I hear anything, but I'm sure it's nothing. I wouldn't worry about it. You and your team are always up to the challenge." With that, Adventure Koala turned and made his way back to the Super Animal Rescue Team headquarters, where he started planning for the race right away. The race itself was just 2 weeks away, and Adventure Koala knew he'd need lots of practice and a lot of help to get himself ready. He'd have to rely on his team, and he'd have to pick the perfect SART members to help. He carefully selected 3 members from the Super Animal Rescue Team who were ideally suited for the task. First up was Ellie the Eagle. With her extraordinary vision and ability to soar high above the landscape, Ellie was the perfect choice to act as a scout during the race. From her vantage point in the sky, she could easily spot potential obstacles, other competitors, and the best flight paths. Her keen eyes would also be invaluable to keeping an eye on that mysterious crow and any tricks he might have up his sleeve. Second was Felix the Fox. Known for his sharp senses and quick thinking, Felix was a master strategist. His role during the race would be to stay in the adventure copter, providing Adventure Koala with real-time strategies and updates. Felix's cleverness would also be crucial in troubleshooting any unexpected problems that might arise with the biplane or during the race itself. His ability to adapt and think on his paws made him an indispensable member of the team. Last was Tina Turtle. Although not as fast as her teammates, Tina's methodical and patient nature was exactly what they needed when it came to the technical aspects of preparing for the race. She worked diligently on the biplane, ensuring every part was perfectly tuned and that the plane was as aerodynamic as possible. Her calm demeanor and attention to detail ensured that nothing was left to chance. Together, these 3 provided a balanced and effective support team for Adventure Koala, combining vision, strategy, and meticulous preparation. Their diverse skills complemented each other perfectly, setting the stage for a thrilling and successful race to Cloud Harbor. The rules of the race specified that all competitors had to fly a wooden biplane, a style that harkened back to the early days of aviation. These planes were known for their nostalgic charm rather than high-tech performance, but they leveled the playing field in a race that valued skill and daring over modern technology. Thankfully, Mayor Marigold came to the rescue. She remembered an old hangar on the outskirts of Adventure Town where a vintage biplane was stored. It had been out of use for years, collecting dust and memories in the shadows of the hangar. Adventure Koala and his team were thrilled when they saw it. The plane was a true classic, with its wooden frame and fabric-covered wings that spoke of a bygone era. The team rolled up their sleeves and set to work. Tina the turtle oversaw the structural repairs, carefully checking every inch of wood for signs of wear or damage. Felix Fox took care of the mechanical systems, oiling gears and tinkering with the old engine to bring it back to life. Ellie Eagle, with her sharp eye for detail, suggested a vibrant new paint job that would make their plane stand out in the skies. Together, they sanded down the old layers of paint, revealing the bare wood beneath. which they treated and sealed against the elements. They chose a bright, bold color scheme that reflected their team spirit and enthusiasm for the race. The final touch was the SART logo emblazoned on the wings, symbolizing their unity and purpose. As they stepped back to admire their handiwork, the biplane looked as good as new, gleaming under the hangar lights. It was a symbol of their teamwork and dedication, ready to soar through the clouds to Cloud Harbor. With their refurbished plane, Adventure Koala and his team felt a surge of pride and confidence, eager to take to the skies and chase after the coveted Cloud Moonstone. As the race day grew closer, Adventure Koala and his team dove into intense preparations. The biplane was not only a beauty to behold, but also a beast to handle. Adventure Koala spent many hours each day practicing takeoffs, landings, and maneuvering through simulated race conditions. His flying skills improved with each session, but he knew that his success in the race would heavily rely on the support and strategy provided by his team. Ellie Eagle, Felix Fox, and Tina Turtle were constantly by his side, not in the plane, but trailing closely in the Adventure Copter. From this aerial command center, they could offer Adventure Koala real-time insights and strategic advice. Ellie planned to use her sharp vision to scout the best routes and look out for any unexpected obstacles. Felix was ready to analyze the race, offering tactical maneuvers to outsmart their competitors, particularly the mysterious Crow. And Tina was ready to meticulously check the biplane and the copter systems, ensuring everything operated smoothly. Their teamwork was seamless, and with each practice run, sharpening their coordination and enhancing their preparedness. The team used radios to communicate, with Adventure Koala constantly tuned into the frequencies where he could hear his team's voices, guiding him through each twist and turn of the practice courses. As the final practice session wrapped up, the team gathered in the hangar for a last check of equipment and a strategic briefing. The plane gleamed under the hangar lights, its engine purring smoothly, a testament to the countless hours spent tuning and testing it. Adventure Koala felt a rush of gratitude and confidence, knowing his friends were just as invested in the success of the race as he was. "We've got this, team," Adventure Koala said, clapping his paws together with determination. "Together, we're unstoppable. Now let's go win that Cloud Moonstone." With everything checked and double-checked, the map of the route studied and memorized, and the team spirits high, they were ready. The next morning, they would line up at the starting point in Adventure Town, the biplane ready to soar, and the Adventure Copter ready to follow. The excitement was palpable, and everybody was ready to feel the thrill of the challenge that awaited them. As the sun set on the eve of the race, Adventure Koala and his team went to bed early, dreams of flying high in the race filling their sleep. On the morning of the race, the atmosphere at Adventure Town was charged with excitement and anticipation. Spectators from near and far had gathered to witness the inaugural airplane race to Cloud Harbor. The sky was brilliant blue, the sun casting a golden glow over the bay, creating a perfect backdrop for the start of this historic event. At the starting line, 4 teams were making their final preparations, their pilots checking over their planes one last time before takeoff. Adventure Koala, wearing a pilot's scarf that fluttered in the breeze, climbed into his beautifully refurbished wooden biplane, waving confidently to the cheering crowd. He was not just a pilot today, he was a symbol of Adventure Town's spirit and determination. Next to him, Bruno Bear from Big Bear City was making adjustments to his robust, dark-colored biplane. Bruno was a bear of few words, but known for his skill and strength. His plane, much like himself, was sturdy and reliable, built to endure the toughest conditions. The Big Bear City team had a reputation for resilience, and they were here to prove it once again. On Bruno's other side was Pipsqueak, representing a smaller mouse village known for its innovative, although sometimes quirky, approaches to design and technology. Pipsqueak's plane was smaller and more agile, painted in bright colors that reflected the vibrant and creative spirit of his home. Pipsqueak himself was a bundle of energy, eagerly chatting with his team and double-checking every bolt and wire on his craft. Lastly, there was the mysterious Crow. his sleek, modern-looking plane standing in stark contrast to the others. It was still a wooden biplane, but looked newer, with polished surfaces and sharp lines that suggested speed and precision. The crow stood aloof, his eyes hidden behind aviator goggles, giving nothing away about his origins or his strategy. His presence was an enigma, adding a layer of intrigue to the race. As the announcer's voice boomed over the loudspeaker, counting down to the start, the pilots revved their engines, the roar drowning out the sounds of the crowd. Each team was poised for action, their eyes fixed on the skies ahead, ready to navigate the route that would take them over diverse terrain and through the clouds to Cloud Harbor. With a final loud cheer from the audience, the plane surged forward, lifting off from the ground one by one into the clear morning sky. Adventure Koala took a deep breath, feeling the familiar thrill of flight as his plane ascended. Beside him, Bruno's steady climb, Pipsqueak's nimble darting, and the crow's smooth, swift rise painted a picture of determination and adventure that would be remembered in Adventure Town for years to come. Soon after the race began, Bruno from Big Bear City and the mysterious crow quickly pulled ahead, their plane slicing through the clouds with impressive speed. Adventure Koala, piloting his lovingly restored biplane, kept up as best he could, but the leaders were fast and determined. The crow's plane, in particular, seemed to glide effortlessly, almost blending into the shifting shapes of the clouds, making it hard for Adventure Koala to keep them in sight. As Adventure Koala and his team flew higher, the cloud cover thickened, swallowing up the leading planes from view. Adventure Koala focused on handling his plane, which danced and dipped in the airy currents. He stayed vigilant, relying on his team in the Adventure Copter to keep tabs on the overall race and to provide navigational support from a better vantage point. Suddenly, the race's rhythm was broken by a crackling voice over the radio. It was Bruno from Big Bear City, and his voice was tense with urgency. "Mayday, mayday, something's hit our propeller. We've got damage and need to make an emergency landing." Adventure Koala's heart raced as he heard the distress in Bruno's voice. He immediately responded, trying to ascertain Bruno's position. "Bruno, we hear you. Where are you? Can you make it to a safe landing spot?" Bruno managed to give his coordinates, which were relayed to the Adventure Copter. His plane was descending rapidly, and it was forced to land in a clearing not far from the race path. The crow, meanwhile, was nowhere to be seen, presumably still in the lead and oblivious or indifferent to Bruno's plight. Adventure Koala felt a pang of concern for his fellow racer, but once he knew Bruno landed safely and that he was okay, he knew he had to continue. The race was still on, and now more than ever, he needed to be cautious. With one competitor down, the dynamics of the race had shifted significantly. He adjusted his controls, steadied his plane, and pressed on through the clouds, his eyes peeled for any sign of the elusive crow or any further unexpected obstacles that might come his way. As Adventure Koala continued to navigate the thickening clouds, an unsettling pattern began to emerge in the race. After Bruno's unfortunate mishap, another mayday call crackled through the radio. This time, it was Pipsqueak, the energetic pilot from the neighboring mouse village, known for his colorful and agile plane. "Mayday, mayday, something's wrong with my rudder. It's not responding properly." Pipsqueak's voice was tinged with panic as he struggled to maintain control of his plane. The little plane, once nimble and quick, was now veering unpredictably, making it difficult for him to steer. From the Adventure Copter, Ellie Eagle used her keen eyesight to spot Pipsqueak's plane wobbling dangerously in the air. "Pipsqueak's in trouble. It looks like his rudder has been tampered with. He's losing stability fast." Adventure Koala and his team realized that this was no coincidence. With Bruno already down, and now Pipsqueak experiencing what clearly seemed like sabotage, the suspicion towards the mysterious crow grew stronger. Adventure Koala remembered the crow's assured and somewhat ominous declaration of victory when the race was first announced, and he couldn't help but feel like these incidents were connected. Pipsqueak managed to execute a rough but safe landing in a small meadow, thanks to the quick advice and directional guidance from Ellie overhead. As Pipsqueak's plane touched down, the Adventure Copter team was already coordinating with local emergency services to ensure his immediate safety and to inspect his plane for signs of foul play. Upon closer examination, it was evident that Pipsqueak's rudder had been subtly tampered with, a small but critical component loosened just enough to cause trouble mid-flight. The sabotage was discreet and professionally done, pointing to someone with a deep knowledge of aircraft mechanics and a clear intent to disable the competition. As Adventure Koala pushed forward, now more cautious and aware of the potential dangers, he couldn't shake off a growing unease about the crow's role in these events. The race was turning out to be more than just a friendly competition for the Cloud Moonstone. It was becoming a test of integrity and sportsmanship, challenging each pilot not just in skill, but in their capacity to handle unexpected adversity. Meanwhile, on the ground, Bruno and Pipsqueak had both ascertained that their planes had indeed been sabotaged. Bruno's propeller had hit debris that had no business in the air and could only have been expelled from the crow's plane in front of him. Pipsqueak's rudder showed the telltale scratches of having been bent by a crow's talons. "Adventure Koala," Bruno radioed to the super animal rescue team. "It's clear the crow is not playing fair. Be careful." Adventure Koala acknowledged the message but continued on, more determined than ever. Surprisingly, after navigating a particularly dense cloud bank, Adventure Koala noticed the crow's plane ahead slowed down significantly. It seemed the crow's earlier confidence might have led him to push his plane too hard early in the race, and now it was costing him. The sleek, modern-looking aircraft appeared less agile and responsive than before, likely struggling with the strain of the high-altitude conditions and just a little bit of hubris. Seizing the opportunity, Adventure Koala radioed his team for advice. "Team, I've caught up to the crow. It looks like he's having trouble. How should we proceed?" Ellie, over the radio, said, "Keep your distance, Koala. We're coming up alongside to get a better look." From their vantage point in the Adventure Copter, Ellie and the rest of the team could observe the situation more clearly. They noticed subtle signs of potential mechanical overreach in the crow's plane, such as sporadic engine sputters and a slight wobble in altitude control. Felix, over the radio, "Koala, let's use this chance to neutralize any further mischief. Keep him in your sight. As long as we're watching, he won't be able to get away with much." Soon, Adventure Koala had pulled even with the struggling crow's plane. As he glanced over into the cockpit, he saw a scowl on the crow's beak that made it clear he was no friendly competitor. Sure enough, once the crow saw that the Adventure Copter was keeping an eye on him, he knew the jig was up. Knowing that his plane could no longer keep up with the older but much better cared for plane of Adventure Koala, the crow turned inland and disappeared into a foggy mountain. He knew he'd get in trouble for his hijinks and decided to cut his losses and abandon the race. Adventure Koala was relieved, but he didn't want to leave his fellow well-intentioned competitors behind. "Bruno, Pipsqueak, can you still get airborne?" he radioed on the main channel. "Sure can," Bruno replied. "Absolutely," Pipsqueak exclaimed. "Come join me up front. I'll wait for you in a holding pattern," said Adventure Koala. Just a few minutes later, the entire racing party, minus the crow, joined into formation within view of Cloud Harbor and the finish line. "Bruno, come fly on my left, and Pipsqueak, on my right. We're gonna finish this race together." "I don't think it's fair to win a race where everyone doesn't get an honest chance," Adventure Koala relayed. As Adventure Koala and the remaining racers neared Cloud Harbor, the breathtaking beauty of the destination unfolded before them. Nestled high in the peaks of Butterloaf Mountain, Cloud Harbor emerged from the mist like a scene from a fairy tale. The town was perched delicately on the mountainside, its quaint houses and winding streets glistening under the soft light of the setting sun. The roofs, dusted with a light snow, shimmered against the backdrop of rugged cliffs, and the vibrant hues of the sunset cast a golden glow over the landscape. The three teams soared through the last clumps of clouds and to the imaginary finish line just over the town square in Cloud Harbor, which they crossed together. Below them, the crowd cheered and celebrated the unexpected but still thrilling finish to the inaugural race, making it a truly unforgettable sight and a perfect culmination to a race filled with adventure and camaraderie. Once they landed at the Cloud Harbor airstrip, which was on one of the cliffs overlooking the sea, Gilbert, Cloud Harbor's race organizer, congratulated all three pilots and was left with a bit of a conundrum. "Oh dear," said Gilbert. "We're all very proud of all of you pilots, but I have to say, we only have one Cloud Moonstone to give away. I just don't know how to give it away fairly." "Adventure Koala should have it," said Bruno. "He raced honorably and should have won." "I agree," said Pipsqueak. "He didn't have to wait, but he did. He should be entitled to the Moonstone." Adventure Koala didn't hesitate with his reply. "No," said Adventure Koala firmly. "If it wasn't for that crow, all of us would have had a fair chance to win. It's only right that the Cloud Moonstone be shared by us all." "I have an idea, Gilbert. Since this is the inaugural race, I propose we keep the Cloud Moonstone here on a trophy that everyone in Cloud Harbor can enjoy and visit. This way, you create something special for people to come and see when they enjoy Cloud Harbor for the first time. I'm sure this will draw communities together and give you something to be proud of." "Why, Adventure Koala, that's just really swell," said Gilbert, beaming with excitement. "Cloud Harbor finally has something of its own, and we're so excited to share it with all of you. We hope you come and visit." "Oh, we definitely will," said Adventure Koala. "I'll make sure of it. And I don't think anyone will need convincing now that we've had a chance to see just how special your town is. In fact, I'm already thinking about the race next year. Ellie, what do you think about installing some new navigational tools in the plane? And Felix, what about a new turbo system?" Adventure Koala's voice trailed off. The team laughed at how Adventure Koala had already begun prepping for next year and reminded him to enjoy what they had just accomplished. Even though it wasn't a clean race, the teams had done what Gilbert and Cloud Harbor had set out to do: unite towns that were distinct and distant from each other by celebrating what they shared in common. With teamwork and camaraderie, they had brought all of the communities closer together and shined a light on the beauty of Cloud Harbor for all to enjoy. There still remained a pressing issue that needed to be taken care of, and Adventure Koala took charge once they returned back to Adventure Town. With the help of Mayor Marigold and the town's detectives, they discovered that the crow was actually a mercenary pilot hired by Wally Walrus, who had set his sights on a Cloud Moonstone for himself. The Cloud Moonstones, being extremely rare, were also extremely valuable. The people of Cloud Harbor had resisted exploiting the gems for their value, but Wally couldn't resist. He had hired the crow from a bird city located deep in the unmapped jungles far to the east, with the promise of many more, but less valuable, shiny gems as a reward for winning the race. The crow was never seen in Adventure Town again, but Adventure Koala and his super animal rescue team knew it was only a matter of time before Wally showed his face again. They'd always be prepared, and they'd always be up for the challenge of protecting the people of Adventure Town. Once the hubbub had died down, Adventure Koala decided to rest at the Super Animal Rescue Team headquarters. Just as soon as he had laid down his head to take a nap, the doorbell rang. He could smell something magical before he even opened the door. Sure enough, behind the door was Molly Mouse and a brand new batch of eucalyptus-flavored treats. She was joined by many Adventure Town citizens, including Mayor Marigold, who all cheered for Adventure Koala and his team. "On behalf of Adventure Town, thank you for all you do to keep us safe," said Mayor Marigold. Adventure Koala nodded but didn't say a word, smiling as his mouth was already full of delicious eucalyptus muffins. The end. And now it's time for today's Adventure Koala question of the day. Can you remember the name of the mountain that the town of Cloud Harbor was located on? I'll be right back with the answer. Did you get it? Can you remember the name of the mountain that the town of Cloud Harbor was located on? If you guessed Butterloaf Mountain, you're correct. Great job! Remember to like and subscribe Adventure Koala Stories to keep up with all the adventures. That's it for now. Bye!